You're listening to the Counterculture Mom Show. Our kids are under fire every day, with the media and pop culture persuading them to give up their faith and Christian values. Stay tuned now as former Hollywood actress and pop culture expert Tina Griffin helps you counter these messages and safely navigate today's pop culture chaos.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations.
People attending Sheila Holm's meetings and conferences often hear the Lord speaking right through her in their own language without a human translator present. She gave a great overview of the corruption surrounding the Georgia Guidestones in part 1 of this New World Order series. She is back to discuss more of the satanic agenda surrounding the Luciferians and to encourage us that God wins. Watch part 1 first if you haven't already. I'm Tina Griffin. This is the Counterculture Mom Show. We are exposing the New World Order this week and their demonic agenda with Sheila Holm for part 2, Ambassador for Christ. Sheila, how you doing today? You ready to rock and roll for more?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I tell you what, part 1 had my mind reeling. I'm like, oh my gosh, it just made me have 40 more questions. Light bulbs are going off in areas where the puzzle pieces weren't quite connecting over the years. You did a fantastic job. You do not use a title because you believe that all believers are ambassadors for Christ and our Father guides our steps. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That's our whole purpose in being here. When people think that, they lean on man, we're not to lean on man's understanding, not even our own understanding. So that's the difference in who we are. We have given up our power and authority. And God proved to me through, and it's a wonderful testimony we'll have to cover sometime with Nancy Haney. He sent her to Niagara Falls when he brought her out of a debilitating stroke that was going to take many months. And he took her to Niagara Falls and he said, "Tell me, Nancy, what do you see?" And after several questions, what came through her is power. He said, "You've got to tell my people they have more power in them with Christ, resurrection power, than Niagara Falls." And that takes care of 3.8 million homes. And when he had me look up the 3.8 million homes, because I just put her testimony in my book, God said, "You've got to tell my people what power that is." And on the America side alone, the Niagara Falls takes care of 3.8 million homes. He said, "Now that you know, now tell my people," because they aren't even tapping into the power they have.
Unbelievable. You just, you're mind blowing. I don't even know where to start with you. Let's do a little bullet point recap from part 1. And for the first one, we talked about this in part 1, but I want to just tell the viewers as a reminder here, the author of the Georgia Guidestones listed under the pseudonym of R.C. Christian. Who is that author? What's his real name? And why did they construct and put in the Georgia Guidestones again?
Robert Clark Cook. They're the Luciferian 10 Commandments. And he was the head of the Eugenics Society that all the Theosophical Society people moved into. And eugenics is Margaret Sanger, Mengele, Hitler. They all used his research. And who's one of the interns and mentored by these people is Fauci. And so we had no idea that all this is following through the lines because they're all in the secret societies, all working on this together. And their whole goal is for us to be out of this world. They want us dead.
They do. They want to destroy the human genome, everything made in God's image. Unbelievable. You just connected 14 dots right there for me. Wow. Okay. You have a great video with Walter Cronkite. Everybody thought they could trust the man back in the day. He explains the history of the Georgia Guidestones. Let's watch this shocking, short little clip and then discuss.
World government is the structure necessary for global justice.
I'm in a position to speak my mind, and by God, I'm going to do it. First, we Americans are going to have to yield up some of our sovereignty. That's going to be, to many, a bitter pill. Today, we must develop federal structures on a global level, To deal with world problems, we need a system of enforceable world law, a democratic federal world government. Most important, we should sign and ratify the Treaty for a Permanent International Criminal Court. Pat Robertson has written in a book a few years ago that we should have a world government, but only when the Messiah arrives. He wrote, and literally, any attempt to achieve world order before that time must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
Glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan. Anything else you want to share besides that? These people are right there in front of our face telling us who they're working for.
Well, I don't know if people have ever seen the clip. The day that he announced that Kennedy died, he very slowly got his glasses, laid them on the desk, very dramatically.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
This man's been in the club the whole time. And people don't realize the exact same day they took out Kennedy on 11/22 of 1963, they took out Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World to tell the people in the world what they were doing to us. They took out C.S. Lewis, who wrote Screwtape Letters and many other books to tell Christians what they were doing to us. And they took out all three men on the same day, and we never noticed it. That's a trifecta in the Satanic Kingdom. You think of the Clue game and look at the Satanic calendar on the internet, and you'll see on a certain day they have to kill somebody between 20 and 33 years old, male, of this either white, black, whatever. They give them all the clues, and this is how you have to kill them. Then when they prove the kill, they get promoted in the kingdom.
You got drone footage in a perfect timed span of time here on top of the Georgia Guidestones showing bloodstain, since we're talking about sacrifice. How did God perfectly time that out for you to get pictures on top of the stones with the drone, with the blood, and it was the shape of a body? And explain to us a little bit about what sacrifice was taking place, who was being killed up there, how many people, how often, whatever you know about that.
Within 5 minutes of us arriving, here comes a man with a Minnesota truck. And here he is 5 minutes after we get there with this drone. And I got excited about the drone. And God told him the week before to get the drone, get a camera hookup, and he told him exactly when to get to the stones. You see how God does all this in perfection. So I'm excited. He's letting me do the drone to get the he's doing the camera. I'm doing the drone. I'd never been around a drone. I get it all the way to the top because we had noticed it had a dark line on the side of the top capstone.
Yes.
And I'd never seen that on my other visits.
Yes.
And so when we got the drone up there, we could see, and it was evidently his grandfather was the first man tortured on the top and it would have been a drip by a drip. Because when you do anything to damage someone, they bleed out. And it goes all directions. And it's not like this. But it was exactly in the shape of a body. And when he saw this, he started to cry. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "My grandfather," we received a call, and my grandfather they told us where they could find the body. So the family found the body. There wasn't a drip of blood left in the body when they found the body.
Okay, now
his grandfather had been tortured, and that's why God sent him up there. And if I wouldn't have been there, I couldn't have explained the whole thing about the secret societies. And I said, what your grandfather did was sacrifice his life for the sake of your family.
Okay, you
guys,
just dropped.
You have such an honorable grandfather, because he was just beside himself seeing this on top and saying, "God, you want me to take a picture of this?" Now he could verify to his family. Now, look at Woodrow Wilson, who allowed all this in America, brought forward the Industrial Revolution. What did he say in his dying confession? He said, "For the sake of saving my own family, I gave up my whole nation."
Oh my gosh, it's
Woodrow
insane.
Wilson's the one that took us into all of this. Federal Reserve, the IRS, he did all of this within days of becoming in his chair at the White House.
Unbelievable. Okay, you just dropped like an atomic bomb at this point, a God bomb. We're going to go to commercial break. More with Sheila right after this. Parents with kids at home, can I ask you something heavy but very important? Deuteronomy says to love the Lord your God with all your heart, to commit wholeheartedly to these commands and repeat them again and again to your children. But what if something happens to you and your spouse and you are no longer around to repeat them to your kids? EpicWill.com is here to help ensure your children are raised by guardians who will honor your legacy and raise them up the way you would want them to be raised. Trust me, you do not want a court deciding who will raise your children. Secure your family today by naming a guardian in your last will and testament, as well as the rest of your early estate building needs, like your advance directive, financial power of attorney, and more at EpicWill.com. We are never guaranteed tomorrow. Start the process now at EpicWill.com and use promo code TINA for 20% off. That's EpicWill.com. Protect your legacy and your children's future.
The Jace case is a pack of 5 antibiotics. We put these antibiotics together very purposefully. They were curated in a way that covers the most common as well as the most deadly bacterial infections that you might encounter. In addition, it includes a guidebook to the safe use of the medications that is written in a way that's accessible for most people to be able to look up what their symptoms are and what the proper medication is to take. The idea behind the Jace case is to allow everyone to be better prepared medically, to be empowered to care for themselves.
Since the pandemic began, our healthcare industry has had to transform. From receiving medication to physician visits, everything changed. Jace Medical is dedicated to providing proper access to medications before you need them. This protects against issues during travel or disruptions with supply chains, natural disasters, and other emergency situations that have proven to overwhelm our healthcare system. Secure your own supply of medication with ease and peace of mind.
Use code TINA for a discount at jacemedical.com.
Who killed and sacrificed his grandfather?
People in the societies, the Guidestones, all 3 men, the granite owner, the granite company owner, the banker, the farmer, because this is in a cow pasture off the Hartwell Highway.
Yes, it is.
In Elberton County, Elberton, Georgia. And it's an all secret society, Masonic. It declares itself to be an all Masonic society location.
Area,
and
yep.
When I was doing the research, I found the newspaper articles and they thought it was the Shriners doing a prank on them. So they were also a member of the Shrine. You have to be all the way to the top and be invited into the 33rd level of the Masonic to get into the Shrine. Once you're in the Shrine, you keep going up through the orders of knighthood all the way. And the top one is behind this, the Order of Malta that Ted Turner was in, Sovereign International Law Order. One of the items there, and one of the items on the 45 points, it's going to be in my new book, their whole goal is to get us into the world court so we have no sovereignty in America, that we are not free on the land. And the reason in the opening, when we showed you guys that the video of that opening that we did today, you saw the Faith Monument and the Soldier Monument. And when you have a chance, Tina, I'll come on and I'll explain the difference, because the Faith Monument takes us to liberty and freedom.
Tell us more about all the different languages written on the stones. I forgot how many languages were there. Were there 10?
There's 8 on the main. The 4 pillars had 2 languages on each. Those were current languages, and at the capstone are the 4 ancient languages. And when I was doing the book, God said, tell my people about the brick. And I go, what do I do about the brick? I said, I don't even know how to make mortar. And that's one of the things within the Passover. And now we're right in the middle of Passover. And I said, I don't even know how to do that. And he said, Sheila, capital B, capital R, capital I, capital C. And I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, the languages match the BRICS. The BRICS is the financial system they're wanting us all to move into. And it's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And they said they did it in 2008. And in 2010, after pleading with them, they added South Africa. If you didn't have South Africa, you don't have all the languages. And this went up on 3/22 of 1980. And here we are out 40 years later, or 20 years later doing this, 40 years later, doing this in 2008 and in 2010 and making it like that's it. None of this is true. This was all set up with those languages that they would control because America was always a world reserve currency.
Unbelievable. You know, the more questions we go over, the deeper I just got to get you back on again to divulge even more. It's just unbelievable. In part 1, you explained that it was taken down at 40333. Let's watch the video, upper right-hand corner, to verify this. It's right there, right in front of our face, and you're going to talk about the significance of the timing of this. Blows my mind. Check this out, everybody.
Also new tonight, we have our first look at the explosion at the Georgia Guidestones. The GBI just releasing this video hours ago, and you can see there is a bright flash and then part of the structure explodes. The Guidestones are in Elbert County and were built back in 1979, but no one knows who put them up. This next video shows what the GBI has identified now as a car leaving the area shortly after that explosion. And while it reportedly shook some nearby homes, we're told there were no injuries. The structure has been demolished.
Okay, first explain to me what's the significance about the 40333 with the timing of that explosion?
It was worked out with God. The lightning had just hit it, and there was a storm going over, and the lightning had hit it. That's the victory mark on the front. Then when the drone went off, the 4 is their structure. So we obliterated their structure by obliterating these stones. It's like the electrical grid to all their obelisks around the world. There's more than 300 that our military is working on. And then 333 is a third of the angels fell from heaven. And that's what we've been dealing with Lucifer and his team. And so it was done to scatter them under the 4 corners of the earth, because in scripture, God has positioned angels at those 4 corners to deal with things. And those are his warring angels. And that was the whole thing. And the timing was absolutely exactly 4 minutes, 3 seconds, 33 hundredths of a second. I mean, it's just amazing.
It blows my mind. The timing on that just blows my mind.
There's only 2 kingdoms. It's a lot simpler. They're making it complex for us. And now everybody knows pieces of the complexities. They just need to come back and get tight with the Father to understand it's a simple plan. They're all in it. They're all against us. The whole Congress brought in by act of Congress. We're paying for these secret societies. We're paying for the Knights of Pythias castles that these guys are members of. We're paying for all of this. It's all been done by act of Congress back in 1864.
You're blowing my mind. We're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to dig in deep with the couple minutes we got with you on COVID, the 19 feet high structure of the Georgia Guidestones, and once again, COVID being in 2019 released. I have thoughts about all that. Everybody here knows what that is. But that's the power number of these Luciferians. We're going to find out more with Sheila right after this.
You've probably noticed how the online world, especially on social media, has taken a negative turn. It's hard to ignore the constant bombardment of explicit content and the overwhelming presence of negative influences that can leave us feeling down, depressed, and anxious. We all know the issues: erosion of family values, addiction, and the alarming rise of human trafficking. These are problems that demand our attention. That's where Tuvu comes in. Tuvu is more than an online platform. We are on a mission to rewrite the script of digital culture, to make a difference, to build a platform that cares about people, family, and communities. Currently, we're creating the largest online community where kindness isn't just an aspiration, but a way of life. We cherish people. We're committed to sound minds and nurturing a compassionate and supportive community. We are dedicated to supporting the next generation, providing a safe, engaging environment for them to grow, learn, and most importantly, have fun. What sets Tuvu apart is the value we bring to our members, combining great tech, compelling content, and a healthy community to help you be the best version of yourself. Say goodbye to cluttered feeds, invasive advertising, and unwanted content. Tuvu presents you with a neat, easy-to-navigate chronological feed, ensuring your privacy and security are our top priorities. Our daily dose of inspiring, fun, and informative content is designed to uplift, inspire, and entertain. Every moment on Tuvu contributes to living your best life. With Tuvu, you can create a wholesome and enriching digital experience for yourself and your family, embracing a supportive online community that truly cares. Join us today at tuvu.com and be a part of a community that's making a difference. Together, we can build a brighter future for all. Tuvu, connecting people, families, and communities.
Power number of 19. Explain more. COVID-19. We've got 19 feet tall. Are the Georgia Guidestones, or were the Georgia Guidestones? What's up with the number 19?
19 is where they go into their power position to do what they do every 20 year. And every 20 year of every century, and I've only gone back to the 1300s, I can't find any documentation in the 1200s or before that is written that I can use as evidence. But from 1320 forward, 1918 to 20, we were wearing masks for 3 years. They build all this up in the 19 year, take power over us. And what does 20 mean to them? Recycle unto death. Because they keep thinking they die and they come back better. They die and there's nobody coming back to life. Their gods are all dead and none of them have resurrected. We have the only living Lord. So every 20 year in every century, we've had a pandemic. And if we would have understood this, we would have known they were headed to genocide in 2020. And that's why when she didn't win, they had to quickly get a bioweapon. And I've got a whole PowerPoint on that because I was targeted with that. I'm the only one living from that event. The other speakers all went to the hospital and were killed in the hospital. And I'm serious about that.
My word.
So every 20 year, and then 2020, they were totally done with us. We were all supposed to die, and there's millions who have died, and we haven't added it all up because they're doing it from several different angles, not just the vax.
Yes. Can you give us a bullet point in 30 seconds of all the different angles they're trying to kill us off? I'm just curious on some
That's
new
why
ones.
they did the bioweapon. That's why they're doing the skies. They're doing the chemtrails. That's why they're doing the effect with the water. That's why they're tainting the food. And why do you suppose all of our I'll just take avocados. Avocados always came from California. When I went to Europe, they were from California. Okay, now even in California, they're from Mexico. Because if Americans won't do what they want them to do, then what they did in the oath, they have the right to burn down your business and kill your family.
These
and so
people
it's right
are
in there. And people didn't know if you get all the way to the top, you're taking oaths to Isis, Allah. They wouldn't know what those are when they take the oath. And the top one is Ahura Mazda. And who's Ahura Mazda? It's the ancient religion of Iran that came out of Egypt. It puts them right back into slavehood. And that's why that's why they take these oaths, but they don't know what the oaths mean. And again, nobody ever paid consequences until now. So now can you imagine when we say panic, it's way beyond panic. Nobody's ever paid consequences. And now it's the current generation paying consequences all the way back in their family lineages, all the way back to the beginning of time.
Yes, it's unbelievable. 10-second answer for this beast. I got to get it in. When do you think the Lord's coming back?
If Christ doesn't know, we don't need to know. Possess until he comes.
Look
We've
at
got a lot
this.
to get done.
We got a lot to get done
on this evil, and we're doing it.
I love your answer on that. I always say Christ is right around the corner. I just see even more and more of the corner being exposed every single week. You're blowing my mind. Everybody out there, you have to check out hisbest.org, and you have a shop right there at hisbest.org. Can you explain to us what we can find on your fantastic website, Sheila? At hisbest.org.
Well, there's 18 books. There's 4 on the front burner right now that are hot and will be out soon. And then 5 on the back burner. I set aside when I did this 5-book series for the sake of America. And number 6 is going to be in the beginning, ... in America. Number 7 is in the beginning, ... in ancient times.
Wow.
We're living the same patterns of evil. And that's why he has me doing a 45-point book on their entire plan that takes us into the world courts. And they've done everything to us. And that's why God said, you got to do a training manual. So that's my next one that's going to come out.
Your website is hisbest.org. Sheila, fantastic. Part 2. I already have a whole post-it note filled with questions that I have to get you back on the program for more in the near future. So everybody out there, watch all 4 episodes as we divulge the info on the New World Order, how it began, why it began, and we need to expose it to all 4 corners of the earth. Sheila, you rock. Everybody out there, watch all the episodes, share them with the masses at counterculturemom.com. If you want to jump in the mix and become a partner, click on that pink donate button, top of the page, and become a partner with us. And we'll be able to get on more platforms and get that airtime cost covered so we can reach the masses with the time that we've got left. You rock, woman. Honor to know you. I'm going to be putting you on speed dial from here on out. I can tell you that much. Keep up the excellent work.
Bless you.
Remember what Grandma said, garbage in equals garbage out. Let's keep the garbage out in 2024 and put quality TV shows, movies, social media that is biblically based in our kids' brains. The Counterculture Mom app is loaded with these godly options. Want to figure out how to monitor your kids' activities online, seeing they got new tech gadgets for Christmas? Let our team of 20 do the work for you. We have many different easy to navigate sections on our app. However, the most popular is the pop culture alerts. Get timely pop culture alerts through our push notifications with the Counterculture Mom app. These daily notifications keep you updated about cultural issues that are trending and many of which are dangerous for our kids to see. However, we pump out a ton of positive pop culture alerts so you have great entertainment options right at your fingertips. You can download the Counterculture Mom app at the Google Play or iTunes store and get our notifications right on your phone. Read the short alerts, apply your advice, and in turn, your children will know how to make their own wise media choices and develop a healthy worldview as a result. Win-win, people. The app is $5 a month, or we're doing a deal now for the entire year for $50. That funding helps us push out more alerts each week with our team of 6 just on the app and produce this show every single week. Don't forget to say yes to receiving those push notifications when you download the app. Happy navigating, people.
Thanks for joining us for the Counterculture Mom Show with your host, Tina Griffin. For over 2 decades, Tina has traveled the globe exposing how pop culture is glamorizing harmful behaviors without showing the consequences, and how these messages are wreaking havoc on today's youth. Through radio, TV, podcasts, and our app, Counterculture Ministries is reaching millions every week with a biblically based message for hope for today's teens and their parents. But we can't do that without your faithful prayer and financial investment. If you appreciate the ministry of Tina and Counterculture Ministries, would you prayerfully consider a generous gift right now? We have a donor matching dollar for dollar. You can give securely online by visiting counterculturemom.com or by texting the word donate to the number 55444. That's counterculturemom.com, or text the word donate to the number 55444. Every dollar is doubled. If you love this show, you can stay up to date on the latest critical issues affecting your family by catching all of our weekly episodes with resource links, signing up for our e-newsletter, and downloading our Counterculture Mom app, where you get timely pop culture alerts. Visit counterculturemom.com for more details. And be sure to join us next week for another edition of the Counterculture Mom Show with Tina Griffin, where we are rewriting Hollywood's script for our kids.